and welcome to episode 22 on 2/2/22 of the Fantasizers podcast. Boys, claps all around. Claps.
I'm sick of clapping. I'm just so sick of that.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just sick of it.
I'm out. I'm out of breath.
That was amazing. That
Thank you.
really
Yeah,
was amazing.
I've been working on it, working on the pipes.
The lung capacity is just insane.
Well, I've had a lot of downtime, so I can just do this, whenever I want. Speaking of downtime, another guy who's going to have a lot of downtime in his future, Tom the GOAT Brady.
Unbelievable. I mean, I didn't see that coming this year. I'm not a big Brady guy. I like him and I respect him, but especially when he was with New England, couldn't stand him. But I kind of was rooting like for 50. Like who's going to beat that? We're in a position where we're watching, or a time in our lives where we're watching this guy that nobody's ever going to touch, probably. At least in our lifetime, I don't see that happening. And that's why I was like, well, let's keep this baby rolling. Let's see how far this guy can go and how good he can stay. It's amazing.
I think he really did it the Tom Brady way, where he would not allow for himself to show a decline, right? So I think this year we can agree he looked just as good as any other season. It doesn't matter his age; he had no decline whatsoever, and I think he going out, kind of this way and on a great season and everything like that. I think that's the most Tom Brady way to go out. I always wanted him. I was kind of rooting to see the downfall and really love those years of, you know, ESPN saying, "Oh, time for him to pack it up" and all that. Yeah, no, I didn't get that. But he's just so good, and he did it perfect.
I think I think what I heard Christopher Michaels say when he was just talking a second ago was that he wanted Tom Brady to play until he was a grandfather. That's what I'm hearing, at least. Is that am I wrong?
No, you're not. You're
Just
not.
have our first grandfather quarterback.
I would have loved to see it. Maybe I could marry one of his daughters. Who knows? And be a part of the family.
Are you?
Is my
He's
wife
already married,
watching?
right?
Is my wife what?
Well,
yeah.
Hey, grandfather or not, he'd probably still be throwing those touchdown passes. I don't know. I don't know. Really big news. Who knows? He could pull a Brett Favre and come back. Let's 4 or 5 times, however many times he did that. So
I don't think I don't think Tampa Bay has ticked him off to do that, right? I think what he did was outstanding as far as time frame goes. He gave that organization uh, time to get their stuff together and try to figure out where they're going from here, right? Rather than Aaron Rodgers is not doing the same for Green Bay, right? So mm, you know I don't know. He's a stand-up guy, and I will miss hating him and watching him play.
yeah, it'll definitely be a weird season next year without a Tom Brady. But kind of leaves the question. This year was all about Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben. No one really, like we weren't really talking about Brady. Now Brady's gone. What does that mean for Rodgers? Is he gonna stick another season? Is he gonna go out same year as Brady? What's gonna happen there?
Stay tuned, and you'll find out later in the show.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wow. Look at that setup, huh?
Well, let's talk about this, huh? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Washington Commies, huh?
The
What an announcement to make.
the Commanders, yes,
Commanders. I'm sorry.
yes,
Yes, the Commanders.
the Washington Commanders. I saw a video actually before they leaked it. Someone was in a hotel room, like across from the stadium, and they literally zoomed in their phone, and you could see on the wall they had the new name. It said Commanders on it, and so it was leaked on Twitter before they got to announce it.
What other way to do that? I mean,
It's just the most Washington way.
it is. It's the most.
Um,
It is the most Washington way.
Commanders, how do you feel about it?
I am an old school kind of guy, so in this world of let's cancel everything, because it offends somebody that people probably don't even know, but they're offended by it. That's how I feel. I feel like they changed their name. That's how I feel.
Okay.
I don't think we want to know how I feel.
I kind of got that. I'm gonna move away from you now. No.
I like the logo.
Yeah, the logo is cool. I do.
I think it's the same logo, just with yellow lines through it.
Well, that makes it look better. But I think honestly, it's gonna be weird to call them that. You know what I mean? Like for what feels like so long, they were just the football team. So oh, we got the Giants and we got Washington.
Kind of sounds like XFL-ish. I don't like it.
It does.
Yeah, I mean,
go to
it does. It does. But who knows? Maybe they'll have a new identity as a team there, and that might be able to do something for them because
I really thought that it was going to be the curve flatteners, guys. I really thought it was going to be the curve flatteners. I really thought. Sorry.
Yeah, the Washington vacciners.
Well, it'll be interesting. It'll take a while for us to get used to it, but just like time, we get used to it, don't we? So we'll see how this works out.
It's true. I'm excited now. Next year is going to be very interesting. No Tom Brady, a new named team. Maybe with a new identity, and not Brian Flores as a coach. What's going on there, huh?
Well, that's a tough situation. I'll say that I like him as a coach. I thought he did a really good job in Miami, and I thought that was a stupid fire. I don't understand that fire. If there could be some things going on in the background that we don't know. I don't, but I thought he did a really good job down there, especially for what he had. I can say that it's going to be tough situation for the NFL, right? Here they go again with this whole racial issue, right? And that's not good for anybody, right? It's not good for anybody. He deserves to be somewhere, I think, as a head coach, right? I think that's what I'll say. That's what he deserves. So I'm sure somebody will give him an interview at some point in time because he's worth the interview.
I agree. I think the biggest, surprise or thing for me was realizing how stand up of a guy he really is, though, because seeing these, all these reports and everything of, organizations trying to pay the coach to tank, right? Trying to pay them like $100,000 to tank and lose games. And I think that is for like I would have never thought of that, right? And he's a stand-up guy because I think he kind of said screw that, and he went on this huge win streak, right? And just like, I'm going to show you how good of a coach I am. Pissed off some management. I think that's why they fired him. And I know me. Someone throws a big fat, briefcase full of $100,000 in front of me and says, "You get that every time you lose a game," I'd say, "Cha-ching, see you later, bro. You're right. I suck, and we're out of there." Right? I'm gonna take my money.
No, I agree, but I think it's just, and I understand you're right. That's probably why they fired him. But how stupid does that make Miami look?
Well, right.
You know, this guy goes on this win streak. They have a shot at the playoffs. They just look idiotic firing him, even though they're doing it for because of their own pride. Even though nobody knew about that, they
Right.
could have just, oh, hey, great job. We're going to keep you around for another year or two or whatever. And that probably would have been it. Nobody would have freaking known what they were doing in the
Right.
back,
Let's not pretend this is the first time, though. This is exactly how the Jim Harbaugh thing went down when he was with the 49ers. It was a disagreement within the organization between the GM, the owner, and the head coach. And Harbaugh lost.
No,
True.
that is
That
true.
tends to happen. The coach loses when it's with your bosses. I think Harbaugh's doing all right though right now in Michigan, and
He might be the Vikings head coach.
saying, he might be the Vikings head coach, right? So I don't know. I think he'd be crazy to leave, that job in college. I think he's kind of made it there a little bit where he's got a lot of job security, but that's just me. Yeah, I don't know.
So real quick, I just want to jump in and say the thing that I found that stood out to me from the Brian Flores report and everything is I saw the statistics and the percentages for offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators in the NFL that are black or minority, and those percentages were so low. I mean, I think the highest was like 32% or something like that. And I think that's where it starts, right? You're not just going to hire a head coach who hasn't had that experience. So I think that's where it starts for the NFL is getting the minorities in there as offensive coordinators and work them through the system and everything like that. But yeah, it is just crazy.
And if you guys don't mind, if I can piggyback off of that, I did see another stat over the last 4 hiring cycles. So the past 4 years, there's been 27 openings, both head coaching and offensive and defensive coordinators. And out of those 27 openings, only 3 of them were filled by people of different color, for example. So anyone that's not white, I guess. So I think that's another thing to kind of to speak on as well at that. And I think maybe this is bringing the NFL to light, and maybe they need to change their hiring process.
Yeah, it really is. It's a developing story, and I'm interested in it. And I think from what I've heard from you guys are too. So that'll be a good story to follow and keep on talking about.
Absolutely. Hey, so let's do this. Let's get right into our pick'ems from last week. Championship week. We have been spoiled the last 2 weekends. I mean, two of the probably greatest weekends overall of playoff football. And I mean that in just how well the games have been played. They just every single one of them has come down right to the very end, and it has been very neat to watch. Because generally speaking, that isn't the case. Usually, you have one blowout or one or 2 games that just aren't, anything to dance about. But my God, have we been dancing the last couple of weeks? Cincinnati at Kansas City. What a game. What a game. And obviously, Cincy coming out on top there. Some great kicking. That guy's unbelievable. He really is. He's a rookie. Am I wrong?
McPherson, man,
Yeah,
he's
a rookie.
stud.
It's unbelievable.
He's
And then 49ers go to LA and make one heck of a run at it, and LA somehow comes out on top. Actually, I didn't see them later in the game. I did not see them earlier in the game. I didn't see them coming out on top. But hats off to the 49ers and how well they
You know what? And we got a message from Guru after that. There's another. Past couple of years for him has been tough, right? This team gets very, very close, but just can't seem to get over that hump. But it seems like the Niners. It comes down to one play, and that interception that I can't think of his name. Guru. What was his name? Tart. Yep. Tart dropped it twice, right? Like he should have caught it the first time, bobbled it. He could have caught it again, and just all the way down. And it's a totally different story if he catches that and they move on. Right. So it was a really good game. I don't want to say it came down to that, but had he done that and caught it, we might be talking differently. So, and spoiled. We got spoiled.
We did. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna start with Hollywood. Hollywood picked the Chiefs. Not a good pick, but he does go with the Rams, so he's 1-1. That puts him at 8-4. We go to our host Josh. He picks the Chiefs, loses that. What an idiot! Loses that, and then he goes with the Rams. So 1-1. So he's 8-4. Right. Let's go with Brandon Lee. Picks Cincy. Good pick. That's a win. And then he goes with the Niners. That's a bad pick. That's a loss. That's 1-1. He is now 8-4. Right. Let's go to Goatee. Goatee picks Cincy. Great pick. That's a win. And then, of course, he's going with his heart. And that's a loss. He's 8-4. Right. So you got all four of you sitting at 8-4. Let's talk about the co-host, shall we? The co-host picks Cincy. It's a good pick, right? That's a win. And then he goes ahead and he picks the Rams, huh?
You muted yourself, you big dumb idiot. And that's great.
That would be.
That was the great.
What was that? I picked Cincy. I picked the Rams. That's a 2-0 weekend, baby. Guess what? I'm sitting at 9-3, ahead of all you idiots. I'm up one game, heading into the final game in a couple weeks. So here's what we're gonna do. Just because I feel bad for you guys, it's pretty obvious I'm gonna win the whole thing, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious, and that would be two things: that I won the regular season, and now I'm gonna win the playoffs. I'm just saying. I'm gonna give you a bonus pick.
Are we sure you won the regular season? Because I think it was pretty unanimous that.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't take it away from me. It's not fair. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pick the Pro Bowl. NFC, AFC. That's your bonus pick. Got it? Think. You got 5 seconds to think about it. I already thought about it. I already know who's gonna win. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, who you got?
Are you gonna ask me?
Who do you got?
I'm going with the AFC.
I believe it's a 6:00 game.
Oh,
That's
ooh,
right.
ooh, hang
Oh.
on. I'm changing it. I'm going with the NFC. NFC. 6
You
o'clock
are.
game.
The NFC.
Yeah, it's a 6:00 game, so I'm going with NFC.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions?
No, I'm going with the AFC.
Josh is going with the AFC. I wonder if everybody else will also go with the AFC. Let's go ahead and find out. Brandon Lee.
Yeah, I'm also going with the AFC.
Hollywood.
I don't want to. Who are you going to pick for the Super Bowl?
I can't tell you that. I'm not telling you.
Come on.
I'm not telling you. What we're going to have to do, though, is we're going to have to all write down something and hold it up in front of the camera
I'm going to
at
write
the
down
same
something.
time so no one's cheating during the Super Bowl.
I gotta go. I gotta go NFC.
He's scared.
I gotta go NFC. That was my initial pick, and I'm gonna stick with it.
Hollywood's going with the NFC. Goatee. What you got?
My heart wants to go with the USFL, but I think I'm gonna go with the AFC. And I just want you to know, not only did I have heartbreak last week with the Niners losing, I got in a Super Bowl pool and my numbers are 2-2.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
really rough weekend last weekend.
Oh
See-
man.
You heard some, how did it feel to donate your money?
Yeah, well, some bracket or some leagues, not leagues, pools. If you get 2-2, they actually give you your money back. But yeah, I wasn't
Well.
that lucky.
Well, there you have it. I'm not sure.
Oh, there you hear it.
That's why I muted myself earlier. There you have it, boys. All right. Hey, we're going to go to a quick break. We got some some serious change in some of our segments coming up. You're going to like it.
That's right.
Stay tuned right after this.
Done.
So let me
George,
ask you.
Watch it be 12-12 for the first 3 quarters, and then somebody kicks
It's-
the field goal at the end.
I'm just hoping.
Serious.
I'm just hoping nobody can play defense and it ends 42-42 at the end of the fourth quarter, because it doesn't matter what overtime is. It's just end of the fourth quarter. There's no overtime. So I was gonna ask, but you flipped it to the Flores thing, so I didn't want to backtrack. Out of the 2 new names in sports, the Commanders and the Guardians, which one do you like better?
Kraken.
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 Absolutely.
Out of the 2 that had to change because of offensive whatever.
What are you talking about,
Who
Guardians?
is the other? Who's Guardians?
It's Cleveland.
Cleveland Indians.
Oh,
Indians
former
are now the
Cleveland Indians.
Guardians.
They named them already? How did I
I
miss
didn't
this?
know.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
that
even-
was
Oh, that was
months
a
back.
couple months ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
they put it up a couple months.
See, I didn't
ago.
even. I didn't
I
even.
thought it
pay
was a joke.
No, they're the Cleveland Guardians.
No, that's
My
really what they are.
God.
So, which one do you like better, Commanders or Guardians?
I like the Commanders because we can call them the commies, like Chris did earlier.
Yeah,
that's
good.
fun.
Yeah, and something about, like, I don't know, you're watching a baseball game and it's like, oh, and the Guardians lead 3-1. Like, who?
Yeah,
I
doesn't
just
really.
like them.
No, I
Well,
think
again,
about it.
that sounds
Gladiators?
very,
Are we
that
watching
sounds
American
very
Gladiators?
like one of the side like XFL names.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're gonna have like Chris Pratt and Dave Batista on their.
I was gonna say the Guardians. I just think of Groot. You know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Yeah. Seems freaking.
So, did we want to do our quick little basketball segment, or do we should we just jump straight to Hollywood, then goatee, and then betting? Because we did actually take up more than I thought there.
We did. That's entirely up to you guys. It doesn't matter. I mean, to be honest, we can bring it up whenever, in the thing. So, it doesn't.
I don't think we're not introducing any other sports this week, are we? So might want to just do that in an entire episode. Just
Like,
hit them right in the face. Hey, listen, look, we're talking something else.
Yeah. well,
Next week might be good because we're not really going to have a lot to talk about probably.
True.
okay,
You just get a
I'll
Super
save
Bowl matchup, but that's about it.
Okay. You guys start talking for a second because your host is to use the facility.
Just stay silent.
So,
Ridiculous with this guy.
It's unbelievable.
Hey, I just thought of something. I'm gonna change my mind. I'm changing my mind.
Yeah, so for my bets, dude, I went Mount Rushmore of the teams that I placed the most bets on in 2020 and 2021.
Nice.
Winnings, like winning bets.
The teams that I bet the most. I'm still trying to figure out football. I don't remember which one I bet the most, but
So the
I
Jacksonville Jaguars.
actually I do.
Sorry,
I'll bet the most.
this is dumb. This is dumb to me. The Jacksonville Jaguars had the worst roster in the league this year, and they have $103 million of cap space, almost 104.
Wow.
Why? Why did they not spend any of it? I don't get it.
Well, they saved it up for all the times they figured they'd have to bail, Urban Meyer out of jail.
Well, maybe, but no, but seriously, like, do they really think that they're going to go out and draw a bunch of people in this offseason? Because they're just a freaking mess. Nobody wants to play, or nobody even wants to coach under the current GM, who just happens to be the Niners GM when Jim Harbaugh got fired. That makes sense now, right?
Trent Baalke. Athletes are pretty greedy, though. I bet they just pay them enough.
Yeah, for sure, but
for enough salary, they'll go.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some that will do that. Shaq Griffin, but there's it. I don't know. Do you? I mean, last year, if you went to Jacksonville, there was hope. They had the number 1 pick. You knew they were taking Trevor Lawrence. No, like seriously, they were bringing in Urban Meyer, and he was going to take Trevor Lawrence, and they were gonna turn it around. Well, now Trevor Lawrence kind of looked like shit. Urban Meyer's gone. Trent Baalke can't evaluate talent, but yeah, I mean, I think my thumb can do a better job of evaluating talent than he can. So honestly, like,
yeah,
there's no light at the end of the
tunnel.
I don't
believe in Trevor Lawrence either. I don't see him getting.
That's what I'm saying. But last year, Trevor Lawrence coming out of the draft,
right?
Everybody was picturing him as the savior of that franchise, and really, I mean, I don't know if he is.
I don't believe in Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, but I feel like if he was in a team that
is it because they have Darrell Bevel?
Fuck that guy. But if they had a coach who could actually coach up a quarterback, yeah, I think he would be a real good quarterback. But Jacksonville, right there, as soon as he got drafted, it's like, yo, shit, dude. Your career's over.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think hurt too, that goes kind of unnoticed or overlooked, is one of his. He got drafted number 1, but I believe it was the second or maybe the third round. It was second round. They drafted his college teammate Travis Etienne, who was a hell of a running back and really would have been a good 1-2 punch with James Robinson. Etienne tore his ACL, or was it Achilles? ACL or Achilles. He tore it in preseason. So you lose one of your – I'm assuming he was going to be a large weapon in that offense. So you lose him, that hurts too.
Yeah, and I mean, I would be – if I could find it, I would be willing to bet that he would have a pretty good bounce-back year. I don't think he's going to be anything spectacular, and I don't think he's going to be a Jag forever, and he's more just another stopgap, be there as long as Blake Bortles kind of thing.
Maybe. I mean, he's definitely more talented than Blake Bortles was, but
oh yeah,
no.
For sure. Oh no, I'm not saying he's a Blake Bortles. I'm just saying
Bortles is an amazing quarterback.
I think DJ Shark getting hurt them a little bit too.
Yeah, and just not using Chenault.
Marvin Jones disappeared. I don't know what he was like killing it at the beginning of the year, and then
I picked him up on my fantasy team.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, he went to where fantasy football players go to die. So
hey,
what's going on?
Hey, so real quick, I want to talk a little bit more about TB12. So I was reading a lot of the stuff about like how he retired and all that stuff, and I found a lot of stuff interesting. I feel like I think his plan in all of this, the way he retired and everything, he's trying to distance himself from New England and all of that.
Yeah, he didn't even mention them.
And Bill Belichick, because he didn't mention them at all in his 11-page retirement. And the photo he used was him, Tampa Bay, in New England when they beat New England. So I think it's a big trying to push away from that franchise to say, look, and that's another reason he went to Tampa Bay to finish his career instead of staying with one team, because he could have done that, right? You know, the more this kind of goes on, the more I hate to say it, but I like Tom Brady. I think he's a good guy. I mean, this is a quarterback, the greatest of all time. He took less money so that the Patriots could afford more players around him. Name a quarterback that's done that?
No,
nobody else is married to Giselle Bundchen.
I mean,
I'm just like
I
still
hear what
though,
you're
like
saying,
for the
yeah.
greatest quarterback of all time to be like, you know what, pay me less so that we can win more. Like that.
all he wanted
Not-
to do.
not
was
to
win. That's all he
mention-
wanted to do.
Not to mention, he did not have a lot of endorsements while he was in New England. I mean, he had a couple, but nothing crazy. Like when he came to Tampa Bay, how many commercials did you see him on?
Yeah.
You know
That
what I
man
mean?
was focused, and he had the chip on his shoulder from the start. He was focused on winning. That's all he wanted to do.
He was, yes, but
He spent
after he had
his whole
four-
career. He spent his whole career, playing with that 6th round chip on his shoulder, and the Brady, what was it, 12 that were drafted in front of him. I mean, it was insane. The 49ers, I don't know if you saw this on his little special he did, but the 49ers needed a quarterback that year. Had him in a local combine. They brought him in. Not because he didn't go to school close to there, but he was from there, so you're allowed to bring them in. And he worked out for the Niners. Thought he was going to get drafted by the Niners. We ended up taking stupid ass Giovanni Carmazzi, who maybe could have been good, but he hurt his shoulder. And they asked Steve Mariucci why, because he was the coach at the time, why he passed up on Brady. And he said it was nothing about Brady's talent. It was they were moving on from having Steve Young and Jeff Garcia and guys that could move, right? So they wanted their backup quarterback, Giovanni Carmazzi, who ended up being, they wanted him to be able to run the same style offense. And Tom Brady was pretty much just a sit in the pocket passer. You know what I mean?
Right.
You think that eats at Mariucci though? Like,
Well, I'm sure, but how do you know at that point?
No, he doesn't give a shit. That dude's so full of himself. He doesn't care.
Brady grew up loving the 49ers. He was a diehard 49er fan. When
He's
they
a
passed on him
bandwagon,
six
that's what he
times,
was.
when they passed on him 6 times, now he loved Montana. When they passed on him 6 times, he said his allegiance to them was gone.
Okay.
Hollywood.
However, he did say last year, or not last year, when he went to Tampa, when he was leaving New England, he actually sent a message to the 49ers through his agent saying, if you want me, I'll go there.
And they passed again.
They passed on him again because they stuck it out with Jimmy, which
That's funny.
Yeah, it didn't work out. But you bring in Tom Brady, you're kind of putting the franchise on pause. Like, yeah, you're going to be successful in the however many years he plays for you, but once he's gone, you're starting over. You're about to see it with Tampa Bay. They're about to lose Godwin. They're about to lose Ryan Jensen probably.
Yeah, but that's the way that it goes. I mean, you put together a team to try and win a Super Bowl. You're not going to be, you don't have very often dynasties that go for years and years and years. So that's
if you're a head
how
coach,
it works.
If you're a head coach and
You
a general
play
manager,
to win the game.
you do. But if you're a head coach and general manager, you are putting together a team that's going to be successful over years. Because if your job is dependent on going to win one Super Bowl, then you play probably for the Jaguars. Because if you win a Super Bowl for the Jaguars, they'll probably let you be the head coach for the rest of your lifetime. Whereas any other organization, it's a "what have you done for me lately" thing.
Or your name's Mike Tomlin,
that's
and
right.
you get a winning season, you're guaranteed.
I was gonna say that's right, but
that's a special organization. They've hired like 3 coaches in the past 40 years.
What you could argue is, well, what have you done? We're rebuilding now. What have you done in the past 5 years? I won you a Super Bowl 4 years ago, and we're rebuilding, and now we're getting back to being where we're at.
But the best GM and the best head coaches don't go through a true rebuild. They retool. They don't rebuild, right? You saw it with the Saints. The Saints with Sean Payton. They retooled over the years, but they didn't rebuild. Even this year, after they lost Drew Brees, they still were a 49ers loss away from making the playoffs. That's the Trevor Siemian,
whole identity.
with Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston and Ian Book.
Well, what are they doing now? Now they're gonna.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah,
right. But that's what I'm saying is they didn't go into a true rebuild because they planned out their their team well enough that they were still middle ground, at least. You
I'd
know what I
rather
mean?
I would totally rather rebuild and tank and then rebuild in
And it
like
takes a
a year or
lot.
2 or 3, and then boom, we're right back to being there.
If you do that though, if you go through a true rebuild, you got to have a lot of things go right, because if you don't, you end up like the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Giants, the New York Jets, all
Hey,
these teams.
Hey,
Sorry,
I think the Giants are fine.
all
But, you
these
know,
Well,
all these
so
teams
I think
that
the
went into
retool
rebuilds and are
thing.
still in rebuilds.
retool.
I
I'll
think the
retool you.
you're cool.
It's just you got to have some luck, because the draft is not a certain. It's not a science. So you can draft God's gift to football, Trevor Lawrence, and he doesn't do it for you. So
I think Hollywood pulled the muscle doing that sneeze.
Guys, I gotta go. I gotta go see a doctor. I gotta see a doctor.
and if you could tank, like, remember a couple years ago, tank for Tua. What the fuck has Tua done? Not much.
I never
Jacoby Brissett won most of those games in that win streak.
I never believed on Tua.
But that's
Although
what I'm saying.
he's still pretty good.
Tanking does not necessarily say that you're going to be successful in a few years. It just means you're going to have a high pick, and you better hit on the pick. If they took Justin Herbert, Miami's in a whole different spot right now, probably.
All right, we ready? We're going to Hollywood, right? Going to the corner. Are you
Yeah.
sneezing over
Josh,
there
you weren't
too?
on earlier. Do you have a
I'm out Rushmore. Yeah, you're gonna like mine.
Oh, I bet I will.
Well, it's nothing dirty, but you'll like mine.
Oh, dang it. I was hoping it was boners.
You and I should have. World's biggest.
I got at least a top 8.
All right, here we go. 3, 2. All right, and we are back, fantasizers. We are here, and we are ready to go into a corner. Sometimes it's a nasty corner, but sometimes it's a beautiful corner. And I'll tell you what, right now, it's probably the best setup we have on the show type corner. Does that make sense? It is beautiful today. I think it really is. Hollywood's corner I'm talking about. Hollywood, man, how are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Best corner in the game.
Wow.
And you'll notice you did not hear my signature Bush NA crack. It's because I was way too lazy to go to the store today and get some more. I'm out. So I've got my my wine tonight. So
wow. Good for you. Good for you, man. Really fancy. Really
still non-alcoholic, so tastes like dirt, but it's drinkable. All right, so I kind of tossed this out to you guys the other day. I found it real interesting when Tom Brady retired. A lot of the Twitter buzz was Mount Rushmore of sports. So obviously Brady is on there. Who are the other 3? So I kind of took that concept and I threw it to you guys. So we'll throw it to you guys for some of your Mount Rushmores. But I'm going to give you guys 2 Mount Rushmores. I'm going to give you my Mount Rushmore that I would put. And then I'm going to give you a traditional Mount Rushmore. So I did some research. I figured out why the 4 presidents are on Mount Rushmore, why those 4. And I have it broke down, and we're going to get into it. But first, my Mount Rushmore, okay? I don't want to, but you have to. Tom Brady's on there. That's kind of the point of this whole thing. So there you go. Number 2, these are in no order, no specific order. But number 2, Michael Phelps. The man did for swimming what no athlete's done for their sport, in my opinion. I mean, nobody cared about Olympic swimming until Michael Phelps. And then the dude did it in an amazing way. I mean, he was the Lance Armstrong of swimming, Number 3, this is going to be, I hope a surprise, and one that you guys don't have. Tony Hawk. I mean, he is the GOAT of skateboarding, right? skateboard vert. I mean, he took that sport in a whole new level and put it on the map as well. I mean, skateboarding was pretty much dead. The X Games come around, and he totally owns the X Games and destroys it. And I mean, he's still killing it.
I love Tony Hawk. But personally, I like his cousin better, Mike. He is awesome. Mike Hawk is
That's
really
awesome.
He's awesome.
Oh, great guy, great hang. He hangs,
Yeah,
great
he
hang.
really has some hang time. Yeah, yeah.
And you know what? Not to get off Mike Hawk, but Tony Hawk is also on the Mount Rushmore of video games because
That's right.
that is my jam.
Yep.
Number 4. This was the hardest one for me. I wanted to put Shaun White up there because of the Winter Olympics going on right now, and I feel like he really kind of made the Winter Olympics relevant again, other than curling. I mean, obviously curling, but I couldn't put him on there just because he's not as dominant as like the other guys on this list. So my number 4, I got to go stock, and I hate it. Wayne Gretzky. And I didn't believe it. I looked up all the stats. I'm like, no, come on. Mario Lemieux is just as good. Or, Gordie Howe, right? No. Nope, not at all. Not even close. Gretzky owns hockey. And he's more the GOAT of hockey than Tom Brady is of football. I'm just going to put that out there.
So I thought when you said you're going to go stock, I thought you meant stock car racing.
Yeah,
So
I'm not putting Jeff Gordon up there or Richard Petty.
No,
No.
oh God, no, not Jeff Gordon. But I thought for sure you were going with that. Did you say not Richard
Taylor
Petty?
Marlboro, maybe, but I can't see what Guru's putting up there.
Guru, breaking news says that Jim Harbaugh tells Michigan he is returning. So he is not the heavy favorite for the head coach.
Well, I was actually looking, and the Vikings, it looks like they're going to hire one of the coordinators from the Rams. I can't remember who, but
Yeah, offensive coordinator Kevin McConnell.
That's the guy. Not on Mount Rushmore, but yes. Good.
Yep.
Hey, that's what we do. Breaking news. When it happens, it happens. Bring it to the corner. It's fine. All right. So now to go a little deeper into the mythos of Mount Rushmore real quick. So Washington's up there. Why? He represents the birth of the U.S. So my number 1 for the same, it's Tony Hawk. Birth of skateboarding. He was there kind of when it all began. So he fits that. Number 2, Jefferson. He's up there to represent the growth of the U.S. To represent that on my Mount Rushmore is Jackie Robinson. Can you tell me a player that represents the growth of a sport more than 42?
That's good. Yep.
Roosevelt. So he's up there for the development of the U.S. So I got to put Michael Phelps on there again. Again, I don't know someone that did more for their sport than Michael Phelps did for, again, nobody talked about swimming other than Mark Spitz.
I was gonna say I don't even know who Mark Spitz is, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So there you go. I've got to say Michael Phelps, only because I couldn't really think of anyone else that kind of really grew or, the development of their sport. And then Lincoln for the preservation of the U.S. That's why he's up there. So for that, I picked the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus, because after all these years, his major wins are still preserved. He is still number 1. So there you have it. There's my true Mount Rushmore as well as my personal Mount Rushmore. So let's send it around. Who wants to jump in first?
I'll jump in.
All right, Brandon Lee. Let's Let's
So
hear it, bud.
I'm glad to hear that you went with all sports, because originally I thought maybe you were going with just quarterbacks, and I did one of those, but I didn't like it. I mean, it was in my lifetime, right? So it's not going to fit everybody's, but I did one here for all sports, right? And to me, it's my goat for all four of these sports. So Tom Brady for football, right? For basketball, for me, it's Michael Jordan. Baseball, you already know. I would hope that you know, because I asked him to officiate my wedding. But it is
Big
Derek
Papi.
Jeter. It is Derek Jeter, buddy.
Big pop.
And then my second man crush in the world, and I'm sure Goatee knows this one, but I'm going into the soccer world, Cristiano Ronaldo. That dude, Lionel Messi, who? That's all I'm going to say. He's nothing compared to Ronaldo.
One of the best looking fake men in the world, and I say that because it's all plastic surgery, but also
Probably.
one of the ugliest statues in the world as well. If you've ever seen the
Oh my
statues,
God.
It is.
So
But
maybe
I have
not having him on Mount Rushmore.
I do have a second Mount Rushmore, though. It's my Mount Rushmore of the teams I bet on the most in 2020 to 2021 seasons.
Nice.
The Atlanta Braves. I bet on them a lot during the baseball year, and they weren't a heavy favorite, but they had big payouts for their money lines. Same exact reasoning, the Phoenix Suns in the NBA.
Oh yeah.
Right? My biggest moneymaker, though, came from hockey, and it was the New York Islanders last year when they made their playoff run. Big time. Had a big thing. Still hate Tampa Bay Lightning. Go fuck yourself. And then in football, I can't stand the team, but they were a big moneymaker for me, Arizona Cardinals. So those are my
Nice.
top four for my bets there.
The New York Giants were not.
I bet on them twice, and they screwed me over twice. So
Right. Yeah.
they couldn't. I'm not even gonna get into it.
So what I'm hearing is, hopefully the lockout ends and we have an MLB season, and then we can look to you for some bets.
That's right.
I do love baseball bets, man. I do.
Nice.
Who else
All
wants
right.
to go? Who else?
All right.
Christopher Michael,
You gonna go?
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Guru.
Joe, I'll go.
Guru.
You want? Okay.
Go.
I guess I'm up. All right. So, my Mount Rushmore, to kind of keep with tradition of my segment and my role on the show, is based on fantasy football performers over, well, the entirety of fantasy football's lifetime. So you could go a lot of different directions with these, but I'm going to give you who I would pick and the honorable mention at each position. And I went by a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, and a tight end. So not necessarily just the top scorers. Quarterback position, Peyton Manning. I don't think I have to really explain that. He was a stud fantasy football performer for basically his entire career. I mean, maybe save his first year in the league where he threw an incredible amount of interceptions. And then my honorable mention at that position is Aaron Rodgers. That guy, he always puts up numbers, and he rarely turns the ball over. So that's what you want out of your fantasy quarterback. Running back position, you could have flip-flopped these two, but I did it mostly because I felt like he was just a PPR monster. LaDainian Tomlinson, he was a stud for, years. But the honorable mention on that is actually Marshall Faulk. During the greatest show on turf, Marshall Faulk was a fantasy monster, and he may have, I'd have to look. I honestly don't know the numbers, but he may have scored more fantasy points than LaDainian Tomlinson did in his career. So that's the running back position. Receiver, Randy Moss. Randy Moss not only was a stud in Minnesota, but he put up one of the most incredible receiving numbers I've ever seen in a season when he played with TB in New England. And my honorable mention there is Calvin Johnson. I wish he had played longer, but Calvin Johnson was just an absolute superstar in every sense of it. And you know, a lot of, I mean, I know he played with Matt Stafford, and Stafford said, I think if he played somewhere else where he had a little bit more consistent quarterback, I think his numbers would have been even better. And then at the tight end position, I actually have two honorable mentions, but the one that is on the Mount Rushmore for me, this is a little bit, I wouldn't have any problem if you debated me on this, okay? But Jimmy Graham, when he was with the Saints, put up disgusting numbers. He actually has 3 of the top 5 tight end performances in the season ever in fantasy. It's disgusting. I was actually kind of surprised to find that out. I knew he was a solid performer, but that kind of blew my mind. And then the two honorable mentions, more recently, Rob Gronkowski. I mean, don't have to say much there. We know his track record with TB. And Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez did it for years and years and years. And before the tight end position was like a real scoring threat, that was the guy that, you know, you put him in your lineup and you basically had another wide receiver because he was just a stud.
Yeah, absolutely. No, no, that's a good look, good pull on Marshall Falk. I've definitely got to agree with that one. Same with Tony Gonzalez. I mean, that dude was
That's your tight end right there.
Yeah, absolutely. He was what everyone looked up to, right?
He was the model of consistency. He was the model of consistency, especially in Kansas City, and he did well in Atlanta too. But when you look at actual numbers, and it's based on the league changing and being more utilizing the tight end a lot more, and that's why Jimmy Graham and Rob Gronkowski's numbers outweigh Tony Gonzalez. But Tony Gonzalez, I agree, as far as value, it doesn't get better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Seattle definitely ruined Jimmy Graham. All right, Josh, our host, I feel like you're really sitting on something, and it's not what you're usually sitting on. So hit me.
Excuse me. First I gotta check because I cut him off earlier. Christopher Michael, do you have him out Rushmore?
No, I don't want to say it now.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I will. So, you know, obviously we're really we're looking forward to this off-season sports talk show here, right? And you know, a couple of us are kind of going off track, and we're going to all sports, and that's obviously what we're looking forward to. Being that March is right around the corner, and being that I'm really diving into college basketball, I wanted to do a Mount Rushmore of college basketball coaches.
Nice.
All right, this one's.
You better watch yourself here.
This one is very tough.
This one, I will argue you on if you don't have.
This one it's going to change. Right? I would imagine by the time that I know who Hollywood's talking about over on the West Coast, but he's still going. Oh, you think it's gonna be one? You think it's? We'll see.
Yeah.
But don't argue. You don't need to argue. All right. Now I'm going men's, by the way. All right. I will do one for the women too, if you wanted me to at a later show. But for the men's, I'm going John Wooden. Okay. Right. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm going Bobby Knight. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I'm going Coach K.
Yeah.
Got to do it. right? Now that leaves me to 4, which is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. But I am going strictly here. I'm going strictly on wins. Okay. Here. Even though some were vacated.
That a boy. Good job. That a
Well, and I'm going with our orange boy up north and Jim Boeheim.
boy. Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
I
That's my 4.
I totally agree with Wooden. As much as I hate Coach K, I agree with Coach K. Boeheim, maybe. I do not agree with the Bobby Knight.
Nobody does.
Oh,
Nobody
come
does.
on. What do you mean? Oh, look at his stats.
Not at all.
I like Bobby Knight. I think he's good.
I like Bobby Knight too. I also
I'd
like my
replace-
Steelers staying where they're supposed to be.
Okay, let me ask you
I'd be
this:
willing to replace-
Calhoun or Bobby Knight?
Neither.
I'm going Bobby Knight.
Mark fucking Few.
I said not yet. Maybe, but not yet.
I'd be willing to replace Boeheim with Calipari anyway.
Yeah,
What
screw
about-
you. Yeah, no one even cares about
Yeah,
your
but-
opinion.
Talking
now.
about a cheater.
Hold on a minute.
bullshit.
Hold on a minute. We're missing a one that came. I mean, he had a really good run.
Dean.
No.
Oh, are you talking about
Big
Rick?
10 in the Big 10.
Louisville.
In the Big 10, Michigan State.
Okay, well, yeah,
Uh,
but he's still going. He's not there yet. He's still going, and he's a really good coach, and you do not want to face him
no.
in March, right? But yeah, I love Tom Izzo, but not yet.
All right, I'm ready. I'm so ready. Chris, I agree with that. I like your list. I am a wonderful host, and so I took my Mount Rushmore of hosts.
Nice.
So I'm not gonna really do the background of why I chose I guess I will a little bit, but it's not
Is
gonna
it-
go as
is
in
it,
detail
Like
as Hollywood
specific
did.
hosts, like specifically like podcast hosts or like game show hosts or.
Oh no, it'll make sense in a second.
All right.
Hosts. Number 1 guy I immediately thought of, Craig Ferguson. Immediately.
I love Craig Ferguson.
He
Immediately.
is the man.
He is the man, right? He's got to be the funniest host. He doesn't give a shit and about anything, actually. So he is
Fantastic.
amazing. I love him. Number 1, he's up there, no doubt. Number 2, Wayne Brady. Because let me tell you, Wayne Brady can do anything, right? He can take the worst show and host it and turn it into something good by singing, dancing, giving out money, and being his fine self. I don't know. Wayne Brady can do it all. Number 3, this is more of like the growth that Hollywood was talking about. Steve Harvey, because that mustache just is nonstop growing, man. Like that is beautiful
sorry.
mustache.
I watched Family Feud because of him.
Exactly, right? So that I'll tell you what, Family Feud, those ratings had to have skyrocketed because of Steve Harvey. And then I kind of went back. I figured maybe this one you guys would either really agree with or really not agree with. I went with Oprah. And I went with Oprah because of the legendary you get a bag, you get a car, like that thing is so iconic, and she was a good host. I thought she was a great
Freaking
host.
erroneous.
I thought you
Erroneous.
said
Where's Bob
something else.
Barker?
No,
Yeah, Bob Barker's got to be on there.
All right,
100%.
Bob
But he
Barker.
wasn't the host.
I agree.
Was he? He was just the announcer, wasn't he?
No,
I
he
only
wasn't the host.
know
No, he's the
I
game
only
show
know
host
Bob-
before Drew
I don't
Carey.
know. You guys are old.
I only know Bob Barker through Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
So
He
he
laid a
beats the
punch.
shit out of he beats the
He's
shit
a
out of.
young-
the show at
young
that
guy.
point.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I got another one. So that was my host list, and I really enjoyed writing that one. But I enjoyed writing this one almost just as much. This was my commercial athletes. So guys that when I think of something commercial wise, whether it's Subway or it's State Farm, something like that, I think of these guys, and I don't know why, but
So when you think of a foot long, this might be the guy you're thinking of.
right. And so I actually I'm going to start with this guy. It's a baseball player, Mike Trout, and Subway. And it might be because I was a child when Jared from Subway had his whole issue, and so I blocked that from my memory. Not saying I was a victim, but maybe. But Mike Trout is the guy that I think about when I think Subway. So Mike Trout, that's number one. He's up there.
I'll be honest, I did not know Mike Trout did Subway commercials.
Well, like
I didn't either.
I didn't either.
come on, guys, come on.
I don't think he does. I don't think he
Okay.
does.
I think of Aaron Judge and having an Aaron Judge's way, Aaron's way.
Another commercial athlete. This one's a given. Shaq. Because it doesn't matter. You look at anything on
The general.
anything. You go to a drugstore. Go to a drugstore. You look at anything, and there it's probably Shaq, right.
He's
So,
Domino's or Papa John's, whatever it
Domino's,
was. Papa John's.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Oh, that's another one though with Papa John's.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
Chris Paul. For me in State Farm, I think Chris Paul. I do. And I don't really love, I think Chris Paul's a bit of a douchebag. I think he's a great player, but I think he's a douchebag. But Chris Paul in State Farm, that's iconic. And I'm just always going to think of him with that. And then last but not least, I had Charles Barkley, because it seems like Charles is going down Shaq's route, and I am starting to see him on every commercial now too. So
What's he on now?
That's the thing.
I don't see a lot of commercials. I was just curious.
I can't think of one thing. It's just every time that there's
What commercial is it that they're like it's as easy as picking Charles Barkley? What one is that?
Oh yeah.
I have seen that one.
Oh shoot, I can't
Yeah,
think
he's
of
like
it.
dominating a
Like, I still
16-year-old
got it.
pickup game.
Yeah, that's right. I can't think about that. But yeah. I don't know. Those are my four that I thought about. Just I see them on the commercials all the time. So those are what I came up with.
No, that's I like it, man. That's
What about Baker Mayfield?
Baker he's getting up there too, but
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going on the train of thought that I had earlier with Papa John's. Peyton Manning.
yeah, you're right. Maybe Peyton could take over Mike Trout then. There you go.
So yeah, Peyton Manning, because that dude sponsored everything. Same with Brett Favre. I mean, that
That's
dude,
true.
Ooh,
everything.
Yeah, Favre with Wrangler. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a sleeper pick you got to throw up there for Mount Rushmore of commercials. Marshawn Lynch.
True.
I knew you were going there.
He didn't do a lot of ads, but he's up there because the dude literally lived off of his ads and not off his NFL money. Like,
That's true.
he put all of his NFL money away and only lived on ads. Like, that's got to be on the Mount Rushmore, right?
Alvin Kamara does that now.
You got a point.
Alvin Kamara does that now. Alvin Kamara has not spent a single penny of his money he's made in the NFL.
The smart man. So there you have it, guys. That's I thought that was pretty fun when I saw that on Twitter, and thought we could run with that, and sure enough, we did. So if anyone out there has Mount Rushmore they want to throw our way, please hit us up. Throw it at me at Hollywood TFP on Twitter, and you know what? Anyone throws out something, I'll read it on the air on the next podcast.
Boom. Love it. All right, we are going to go and take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to Guru. Correct, Guru? Right? Are you ready?
I don't know. You're the host.
Okay, well, then that's where we're going, okay? I don't give a shit. I'm like Craig Ferguson. All right, we'll be back right after this.
James Corden's not on there?
Craig Ferguson.
I'm just
a hell of a
I'm kidding.
And
I just thought it
great.
Craig Ferguson too. Like, seriously, how is Letterman?
Oh, fuck Letterman.
Bob Barker?
Yeah, no, I
Bob
didn't.
Barker. I didn't realize was a host.
This is what I went off of.
Larry King.
This is what I went off of, right?
Google.
No. I went off. I don't. This personally, I don't give a shit about Jay Leno. I don't give a shit about.
I didn't say Jay Leno.
No, I know, but I don't give a shit about Letterman. I don't give a shit about Barker.
Conan O'Brien.
Yo, hold on.
Conan actually almost made my list.
How
because
do you not have
Okay,
Jerry
well,
Springer on there or
you
Maury
could've
Povich?
I could have done. I could have done
just because of the controversy.
I should have done Maury.
Maury.
Murray.
Maury.
Maury Povich.
Maury.
Povich.
Yeah.
Judge Judy.
Ooh,
Judy is
good.
good. I actually just saw a thing at Judge Judy today. It was a nude. I'm sorry. It was a video.
How about that creepy guy? You guys ever watch? You guys are probably all too young for this, but that show Unsolved Mysteries. You had that creepy guy that he gave me fucking nightmares.
There is still an episode. There is still an episode I watched where like somebody broke into the house, and they broke into like the third story of the house, right? And it came into this girl's bedroom or something, and they ended up it was unsolved, obviously, but they couldn't find any footprints because they think somebody came over there on stilts. And that to this day has freaked me out. Like I still can see that episode in my head. It's disgusting.
Well, and speaking of that,
extra effort right there.
Me practicing my stilts last weekend, guys, was not that was a coincidence.
Could you imagine you wake up out of bed and you just see?
Did anybody else think that?
Especially Hollywood, because he's already freaking all his shit.
Right.
Did anybody else think though that Josh was going to put Ryan Seacrest on there?
I almost did.
You should.
That would have made sense. Actually, I didn't even.
I almost put
Nick
Ryan
Cannon
on there. And no, well,
God, he's awful.
I know
does a good job.
I'm literally picking people that I can't stand.
Tyra
However,
Banks.
Nick Cannon and Drumline, that was a good movie.
But yeah,
Wayne Brady, that was good.
That was a solid one.
Wayne Brady, he can do
that man can do anything.
He
won the Masked Singer. He beat out Chris Daughtry, and he's a professional singer.
I'm telling you, Wayne Brady is the fucking man.
That's right.
He's, in my opinion, him and Colin were the two stars on that. Whose Line Is It Anyway? Not Ryan Stiles.
Ryan was funny though.
He was funny, but if you watch him in order, he's got a pattern. He only plays weird animals or freakishly tall, weird country folk.
I always thought that Chip was really underrated when he was on there.
Chip's
him and Wayne doing the songs was.
Well, did you ever watch Improvaganza when that came on? And it was like, you remember Jeff Daniels?
Yeah,
it was his show, and it was him and all of the Improvaganzas minus Colin. He wasn't on that.
I can't see that.
Real quick, if you're wondering what I'm putting on the screen, it's NCAA men's win-loss percentage for head coaches.
Roy Williams, by the way, has got to be.
You want to guess who number one is? Just
John
take
Wooden.
a guess.
Percentage?
Yeah.
Oh, win percentage.
Who is that?
They don't play against anybody.
Yeah, that's Mark Few.
They don't play against anybody.
Are you kidding me? They always schedule big out of conference.
Right, but I'm saying their conference team, like playing the ACC in every game you play is tough.
Bullshit. BYU.
I was going to say, I don't think you can say they don't play anybody. They make a run every year in the tournament.
Smith.
They do. I'm not saying that they're not a good team. I'm saying by win percentage, though, they're playing some teams that are.
I mean, every division has that, though.
I would argue that the ACC is pretty good top to bottom. You take a bottom team in the ACC and put them out in like the Mountain West, they are going to dominate.
Yeah, but I'd love to see a head coach go into Spokane, Washington, at a private Christian school of 5,000 kids and do what he's done.
I'm not saying I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying that his win percentage is tough to judge on win percentage when he plays in the conference they play in. That's all.
He'll be
Here
there.
we go. Here we go.
Ready?
Christopher Michael, you are sending it to Mr. Goatee.
You tell me when.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
And welcome back, TFP Nation. I'm your co-host, Christopher Michael. Joshua Dean is falling asleep at the wheel, so it is my turn. It is my turn. And I'm going to send this directly over to our goatee guru. Goatee, what do you got for us this week on 2/2/22, episode 22?
Can we go backwards 2 minutes and it would have been 22-22?
Oh, man, we
well,
missed it by 3 minutes. Darn it.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Anyway, so no, this week, we usually try to do something fantasy related. But I thought with the down week, you got media week and Pro Bowl before the Super Bowl, and the fact that my heart's still broken from last week, I thought we'd try something a little different and kind of maybe kickstart some of the topics we're going to talk on in the off season. So this is a very early look, but I wanted to just kind of start to dive into some of the off-season topics, and I thought a good one to start with is landing spot predictions for top free agents and some of the top trade candidates. And I could have made a huge list, but for time's sake, I kept it pretty small. But we'll cover it, like I said, more as we go on. So maybe just throw out like 10 a week or something like that, and we'll just kind of run down through it. So I'm going to start with top free agents and where I think they might land in this offseason, and then I'll touch on the trade targets. So number one, there's no free agent bigger right now than Davante Adams. Davante Adams, I expect Green Bay, and Green Bay has come out and said that they are going to franchise tag him if they can't get a deal done, which I don't expect them to do. So I do expect him to be still with Green Bay next year. I wouldn't put it past him, though, if Aaron Rodgers ends up leaving. I wouldn't put it past him to hold out and see if he could force his way out of that organization. But as far as where he's going to be signing, he's not signing anywhere. He'll be signing his franchise tag if he's signing anything. Number 2, Teron Armstead, the left tackle from the New Orleans Saints. So I looked at this, and I looked at teams that have available cap space, and I looked at teams that have a need. I don't think Teron Armstead's going to return to the Saints. I think he's going to take his chance to make his last probably big payday. He is now in his 30s, and New Orleans Saints seem to be a declining franchise now that Sean Payton stepped down, and they kind of don't know who their quarterback is. So when I look at it, there's one team that just jumps off the page. They're sitting with the 4th most cap space entering the offseason. They got a projected $56 million under the cap. And you got to protect your star, right? The Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow, young emerging star playing for a Super Bowl, and he's gotten there with a lackluster offensive line. You bring in a Teron Armstead and you lock down his blind side for as many years as you just signed him. As long as Armstead's healthy, he is an elite left tackle. Moving on to the 3rd person on my list, Chris Godwin. Now, Godwin did have a late season injury, so there's a very good chance that he may sign a short-term deal to kind of almost like a prove-it deal with somebody. But if he's healthy enough that they think he might make an impact next year, I think he's going to sign a pretty good sized contract. And I don't think it's with Tampa Bay, as Tampa Bay only has $7 million of cap room as of right now. And they have another key free agent in Ryan Jensen, their center, who if whoever is going to play behind center in Tampa Bay is going to really need a strong offensive line. So I think they're going to prioritize Jensen and look to the draft to try to put somebody opposite of Evans. So where do I think Godwin's going to end up? There's a lot of opportunities to chase the money, but there's one team that seems to stand out as far as having cap space and potentially having a need. And they have the allure of a young quarterback that has a rising star. The Los Angeles Chargers, $57 million under the cap right now. They have Keenan Allen, who's aging, doesn't seem to be quite the player he once was. Mike Williams is also a free agent, and there's a very good chance that Mike Williams goes chasing the money. So I wouldn't be surprised that you bring in a Chris Godwin type. Godwin can take over that slot role as Keenan Allen ages, and I think he's almost a perfect transition for Justin Herbert. Very reliable target, and just the only thing you got to worry about is he might not be healthy. So if you're good with his medicals, I think you take a shot on him, and I think the Chargers are a great place for him. Number 4, this is not in order per se of talent level, or that's not what I want to say. Production. It's not necessarily in order of production. So number 4 on this list has not outproduced some of the other players on this list, but Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson has been a very good receiver throughout his career. He did have a down year this year, but I attribute that to poor quarterback play. Justin Fields took a while to develop, is still developing as a passer. Andy Dalton is atrocious. And I think Allen Robinson kind of fell behind because of Fields having a real good connection with Mooney. So Allen Robinson comes off out of Chicago. He's going to want to probably play for a winning team, but I also think he wants to play closer to his hometown and where he went and played college ball. And he played college ball at right there, Penn State. So I think Allen Robinson ends up with a wide receiver needy team like the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that would be a good fit for him across from Devontae Smith and whoever's under center, whether that's Jalen Hurts or if they decide to go with another option. I think Devontae Smith, Allen Robinson, Dallas Goedert, it's good solid weapons to have as the Eagles try to rebuild in the NFC East. Number 5 is Von Miller, age 33. Von Miller, he might have his last chance to have a big payday or a decent payday. He's not going to get paid like he once did. But I expect him to return to his roots. I think he is not going to come back with the Rams. I don't think they have the money to pay him. But I think he's going to head back to Denver and finish up his career there. He wants to win, and he has a chance to win a Super Bowl this year. But if he goes back to Denver, there's a good chance that team is going to have success going forward. They already have a good defense. They have a ton of good offensive weapons. They just need a quarterback, and they might find one this offseason. Number 6, Mike Williams. I just mentioned him earlier, and I also mentioned that I think he's going to chase the money. That being said, there's one team that just has so much more money than everybody else, and it's just absurd. I don't understand how you have $103 million of cap space when you're this atrocious. Just go out and sign some people. Obviously, I'm talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Mike Williams goes in there, gives Trevor Lawrence, another weapon, deep threat, emerging as a route runner, and they have the Clemson ties. They're both from Clemson, so I think he's donning Jacksonville Jaguars uniform next year. And the last free agent on my list is Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones, I expect, because he started this season with a bang. He started with 5 sacks in week 1. And he kind of trailed off after that. And I don't know if that was due to some of the injuries that Arizona had on their defense or if it was just the extra attention he was drawing. But I think Chandler runs it back one more time. I think he signs a short-term kind of team-friendly deal to try to just go chase one more Super Bowl with Arizona. They have a lot of good pieces in place, and they got off to a really hot start this year. I think he tries it one more time with Arizona. So that's going to wrap up the free agents that I had for this episode. I will touch on more going forward, but I'm going to go to the top 3 trade candidates, and maybe not the top 3, but the top 3 trade candidates that are quarterbacks and where I think they might land. I'm going to go in reverse order. Number 3, Jimmy Garoppolo. we know if you've seen his press conference to end the year, Jimmy wants to go to a place and he wants to win. And the 49ers organization has been very open with him, and they have been very accommodating. So they're trying to really do right by him and send him to a place that he wants to go. He wants to go somewhere that wants to win. Now, I don't think this team has a great track record of winning, but I think they have a good coach at the helm, and I think that they're going to turn it around from what they had this year. They're actually 1 year removed from beating Tampa Bay in the playoffs, or almost beating Tampa Bay in the playoffs. Excuse me. So I think Jimmy G ends up with the Commies over in Washington, the Washington Commanders. They have good talent on that team. They have some pieces in place, and I think Ron Rivera is a good enough coach to be able to get them back on track. They just need somebody that doesn't.
Has Ron Rivera had a quarterback that can't run though?
Yeah. I mean, none of Jimmy Garoppolo does have some mobility. I mean, his mobility is very similar to like Alex Smith. Maybe not as athletic as a Heineke, but Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, Garoppolo can run. He just doesn't do it often, and actually used to do it a lot more before his ACL injury. When he had the ACL injury, he kind of stayed in the pocket a little bit more. But I think he would be a good fit there just because they want to run the football. He's old, Rivera's old school. They want to run the football. They want to run play action off of that. And I think Garoppolo can really show that, or has shown with the 49ers, that he can excel in that scheme. He's still going to make some plays where you scratch your head, but every quarterback does. Number 2, pulling at the heartstrings of some of our guys here, Russell Wilson. I think, I'm not saying this just because I'm a 49er fan and want to see him go. I think that Russell Wilson finally forces his way out this offseason. I think it's going to happen. And I really, for some reason, in my heart and in my gut, I think he's destined for Pittsburgh. I don't know why. Something just in my head tells me Pittsburgh. And going with Mike Tomlin, they have they took a step back this year, but they still have a pretty good defense, and he's got some young weapons there. I don't know. They got a good run game. I think that's where he ends up. I really do.
I will say, if Russell Wilson comes to Pittsburgh, he is welcome at my house anytime.
What about
I will not root for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What about Tampa Bay?
I don't think they have the money for him. That's the problem. So I'm looking at teams that can afford him, and I think, I don't know why. I have no insight or any information on this, and this is not a team that was on his list last year. Something tells me Pittsburgh. I don't know. Which leads me to the final trade candidate on my list here, and I think it's pretty obvious who we're going to talk about. Aaron Rodgers. So I know he's a trade candidate. I get it. I know that the season didn't end the way he wanted. I know that there was some problems between him and the organization prior to the season, and he's had a lot of media related issues, but I can't picture Aaron Rodgers in any other uniform. I think he's going to somehow, some way, he's going to come back to Green Bay, and if he doesn't come back to Green Bay, I think he retires. But in the off chance that he does leave Green Bay, Denver is tailor-made for him. They have an exceptional defense. They have a very good offensive line. They have a plethora of weapons, and they just hired offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett to be the successor of the recently fired Vic Fangio. So the stars align. If he leaves there, I think that's where he goes. But I can't see him leaving Devontae Adams, so I think he ends up in Green Bay or retires. That's my thoughts on that. I'll throw it around to you guys. I don't know if there's anybody else you wanted to bring up, but that's what I got for you.
Yeah, so I got two real quick. I know he's a free agent at the end of this year. Likely he's going to be re-signed, but if in the chance that he's not, I'm going with Leighton Vander Esch, right? He's coming home, baby. He's coming to Seattle. We need we see Bobby Wagner leaving soon. Not yet, but soon. And we need another outside linebacker real bad.
I'm
Okay,
not sure where
Jordan
he
Brooks,
fits.
Jordan Brooks is going to be good. Jordan Brooks is going to be good, but on the other side, who do we have, right? And I think you can bounce Brooks to either side to make sure that Vander Esch fits. But Bobby's only got so much time left, so I think that's a free agent signing in the off chance that he actually makes free agency and is not re-signed.
So I
And
two things. One, I do think he makes it to free agency because Dallas has a lot of good linebackers. I also think he reaches free agency because he has a history of neck issues, and neck issues, as you know very well, and as being Seattle fans, neck issues can end your career really fast. So I think if he does sign, I don't see him going to Seattle, and the only reason I say that is because I don't see where he fits. Seattle doesn't run their base package nearly like they used to, and they are a lot. They're in nickel a lot more, which is really just going to put Wagner and Jordan Brooks on the field. So
you can argue though that we're in nickel because we don't have the linebackers.
Yeah, but Leighton Vander Esch isn't a middle linebacker anymore, in my opinion. He's an off-ball linebacker.
No.
now.
I'm saying getting him as an outside linebacker. I'm just saying using him as a stopgap when Bobby leaves. But for right now, we need another outside linebacker.
Yeah, though that's fine. But Vander Esch, in my opinion, too, is a run thumper now. That's all he is. He doesn't do much in pass coverage. And you guys have a really good two really good pass coverage linebackers because Bobby Wagner is exceptional, and Jordan Brooks is a very good pass coverage linebacker. So I don't see the need. I wouldn't shake my head at it if they signed him. I just don't. I don't know. They've had a history of neck injuries in Seattle. Do you really want to bring another one on? You know,
We have a good
Gabriel.
history of ruining really good players as well, too. Not
Yeah.
using them correctly. But
Yeah.
then going to trade, right? So I'm thinking New Orleans. They're in that retool rebuild stage right now. And who are they going to have to pay? And are they willing to pay him? I don't think so with the running back position. Alvin Kamara is going to be on the move. Who needs a running back right now to get them to the top? The Buffalo Bills. So I see Buffalo trading for Alvin Kamara because not only is he a good running back, but he can catch out of the backfield as well.
That would be very interesting. That would be very interesting. I think that would be a pretty good fit. You could run a lot of kind of like they do with the Saints and Taysom Hill. You could run a lot of like read options and things like that with them, with Josh Allen. So that would be a really good fit. I have also heard the rumors that they may explore trading Alvin Kamara. Problem with it, in my opinion, is there's a lot of issues as far as the cap goes, and they're already $76 million over the cap. So there's dead money involved. I don't know if they financially can actually swing a deal without bringing in something.
Who's that? The Bills or the Saints?
The Saints. The Saints are $76 million over the cap right now. So that's the only thing I see as far as I don't know if they can financially swing it, but if they can, because they'll find a way to get around those all the time.
If you're trading for draft picks and shedding cap, right? If you're trading for draft picks and shedding cap, isn't that legal at that point?
You're shedding cap, but you're also, because of his signing bonus, you have dead money on your books. So I would have to look to see how much dead money that is. I don't know that off the top of my head. I would have to look, but I know that there is dead money in his contract if you trade him. So I think they should. I think they're in that spot where they should rebuild. and maybe you start over because running backs are kind of a dime a dozen. You can look at the 49ers. Elijah Mitchell was a 6th-round pick. And so I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. I just don't know how they can do it financially. But if they are able to swing it, I think the Buffalo Bills are an excellent landing spot for him. And I think that immediately vaults them to be a Super Bowl favorite next year.
All right. Well, another great segment for this, boys. Good job, Guru. Good job, Brandon Lee, with bringing in those. I'm going to send this to break, and when we come back, the boys, we're going to do something new, and it's going to be going all the way even through the offseason. Each of us are going to have our best bet, a bet that we like, and we're going to go through and read them off to you after this. I don't know. I just did it. You're make a bet.
Let me go ahead and look up a bet.
Yeah. Okay.
Jackass.
Sorry, Josh. I didn't realize that's what you meant with we were going too long. That's my fault.
What?
Were you doing the long, like, hey, we're going too long kind of thing?
No, you were too close to the mic or something. I don't know.
No, I was telling you to move your phone.
Oh,
Your
phone.
My
I was gonna say, I didn't think.
No, it's
I
not
didn't
my
think that
phone. My
segment
phone's
took
all
very
the way
long.
over on the other side.
No, it wasn't lengthwise. It was 20 minutes. That's usually what it
With me
rocks.
jerking off in the
Okay.
background.
I
that
thought
was
you were
fun.
telling me to keep. Like, I didn't click on that until.
I don't know,
Why? Does it
actually.
sound bad?
I think I'm pretty sure it was just around 20 minutes. It's processing right now, so I'll let
Yeah,
you know.
we kicked, or he sent it to me at 10:25. So
Yeah.
Did I sound bad or something? Was that why?
You
just-
kept cutting in and out a little bit. And
Yeah.
you get glitchy every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, my internet here is not great, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm gonna put it out there. I think Russ stays in Seattle, but I also think he restructures his contract to take less money.
I hope he does. And I do think he stays at least one more year because Pete doesn't have the decision making in personnel and players, player decisions, I guess, with GM stuff. So I'm interested to see what happens, but I think John Schneider should have left.
you think a guy that isn't fully happy with his situation is going to take less money to stay there?
I do.
I don't think he's not. I don't think he's unhappy. I think that's more media. I think he's frustrated that he doesn't get enough say, and they're giving him say and taking Pete Carroll out of it. So I think he's going to be willing to stay one more year and see how it works.
It was 21 minutes, by the way. Just it finally processed.
I just feel like he needs to get out of there, just because. I'm not saying this to like because I'm a 49er fan. I think it's because I think Seattle is destined to be in the bottom 2 in that division for a while. So I feel like right now is the time to go.
I don't necessarily think he is if he restructures his contract. I don't think Seattle's destined to be bottom 2 because he's the biggest reason we don't have spending money. And so I think if he restructures and we get we get the ability to be a little bit more aggressive in free agency, which is what he wants, then I think we're okay. And that's where I think we see Van Der Esch come, and maybe, I still really believe in Chris Carson. It's just he gets hurt too much. But I think you're going to see the offensive line get some structure. And
you guys actually have salary cap. You guys are
we
37
do
million
have
under.
salary cap, but at the same time, Jordan Brooks needs to get paid next year, and so does DK.
Well, that's the thing with the Niners. We will shed Garoppolo's contract, and that's going to be $25.9 million off the books. And
we
then
do have to decide what we're doing with Bobby next year as well.
We're going to shed Jimmy's deal when we trade him, $25.9 million. It'll leave $1.4 million in dead cap, which is fine. But we have to sign Debo and Nick Bosa to contracts. So we still have them under contract for one more year, but got to give them an extension.
I will say though, Chris, I am incredibly excited for the Giants.
Oh yeah.
Because I think your new coach hire there, we'll see how much money they have after the lawsuit, but
Giants
I
have
think your new head coach and your new GM, I think those are both great signings, and I think you guys are going to actually come
Yep.
out from being old school and actually
You guys are
make
you're gonna be more exciting to
mistakes
watch.
in the modern era.
Gonna be more exciting to watch, but you're 10 million over the cap, so you aren't gonna do much in free agency.
No, but I think they can make things work.
Maybe what killed them. I know you liked this signing when it happened. I told you I didn't. But it was because of the money,
Galladay?
not necessarily the player. Galladay was a terrible signing. You guys, the way you structured that contract, really bad. Like
I don't
Gettleman
like him.
screwed you on that deal.
Yeah,
Gettleman
I don't.
screwed you because
I
you
don't
can't
like
get
him.
out of it. There's no way to
Like-
get out of it unless you eat all of that money.
How many games has he actually played?
Oh, like 4.
Yeah.
It's
And
terrible.
there's no way for you. There's like no clause for you to get out of it. That's one thing I love about the 49ers, Parag Marath, who I am sure is probably going to end up somewhere else at some point. That guy, every contract that we negotiate or he negotiates in San Francisco, every single contract has a way of us getting out of it with very limited lost money.
I will say one thing that Gettleman did right was drafting Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, they could. Get,
If he can stay on the field, if he can stay healthy, he's good.
Yeah.
all right, let's do this betting.
You guys have your
All right,
bets.
so hold on. What exactly is going on with bets? Am I doing a segment or is it just us going around?
Chris, what was my plus? Was it plus 108?
Yeah, you're plus 108 Stanford money line
Yep.
over Washington State.
Got it. Thank you.
Because I have 3 bets, so I wasn't sure if we were doing a segment now. I mean, I can burn through those really quickly. It's not a lot of explanation, to be honest with you.
Well, no, I don't think we.
So do you want me to run through the 3? Like I said, my explanation is literally a sentence.
It's still technically your segment, so you could start it off and give us the 3 and then just send it around for our best bets.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you
All right.
can argue it, don't even for don't argue best bet, just argue
No. I'm not going to argue.
interesting, most
anything.
fun. Like, because I'm doing a most fun bet for me personally.
That's fine. No, I have 3 bets, and like I said, the longest explanation is actually just a sentence.
Okay. All right. Here we
And
go.
then Jordan, I'm going to send it to you first.
Okay.
I would explain how we're going to be doing things in the offseason, obviously, because we're not betting on football, right? Just kind of say,
Right.
hey,
Well,
Okay.
that's on
Okay.
that's on one of you two to do. One of the
Yeah, right.
co-hosts.
Brandon, are your bets not football, right? They're not football.
I have 2 for the Olympics and 1 for
I got you.
UFC.
Mine's bowling. No, I'm
3,
kidding.
2, 1. All right, and we are back, and our betting segment looks a little bit different. Coming into our off season for the fantasizers, with football coming to a close, we are gonna need to find, some other sports to try to itch that scratch or scratch that itch.
Yeah, that's right.
So we are going to do it a little bit differently. Brandon Lee, of course, still has some of his bets that he likes. So we're going to go over and visit Brandon Lee, but they might not be football, if I believe so. And that being correct, Brandon Lee, what you got?
Yeah, that is correct. I tried, guys, but I'm very itchy, so I had to find something to make sure I scratched my itch. Yeah, I was looking at Pro Bowl. There's nothing available for Pro Bowl stuff. And I mean, really, why would there be? Anyway, let's get started. The Olympics is coming up. So I've got two bets on the Olympics, and then I got one that has nothing to do with it. But for the first 2, so the first one, I am going with Russia to win the most medals, not gold medals, just the most accumulated medals. And that sits at plus 850. And I'm not going to bet against Russia because I don't want, Putin on my doorstep at all. I don't need that. So I'm going with Russia, most medals, plus 850. They are, I believe, the 3rd country down. The favorite is Norway, but it's too heavy of a favorite. Don't like it.
Yep.
Number 2. USA over 22.5 total medals. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take that. The USA is on the podium all the time. Dude, that's bronze, silver, gold. Come on. They're on the podium all the time.
Yeah.
And lastly, has nothing to do with the Olympics. If you guys like UFC, this is the fight this coming weekend on Saturday. Headliner. I'm taking Jack Hermanson to beat Strickland. It's at plus 180. I'm not taking a knockout. I'm just saying just to defeat him. And Jack Hermanson has a 1.5-inch reach on Strickland, right? And right now the money is at 77% on Strickland. I'm sorry, Vegas is not gonna let that fly. So that's gonna change at some point, and the line's gonna drop. So if you're gonna take this guy, you take him at plus 180 because it's going down. So I'm gonna play the money and take the underdog. But those are my three right now. So I think as Josh said earlier in the podcast, we're gonna send it around for the best bets of the week. So Guru, you're the first one on my screen. I'm excited to hear it, man. What do you got this week?
Yeah, I really wanted to bet on hockey, but they're, like you just mentioned, the Olympics are coming up, so the hockey world is on the Olympic break till February 9th, I believe. So I went into the college basketball world, and there's a game coming up that I really liked. It's in Stanford. Washington State Cougars coming in to take on the Stanford Cardinal. Stanford is a plus 108 on the money line in that game. I didn't like the spread, but I would take Stanford as the underdogs, and I think they pull that out at home.
I don't mind it. I like it. Hollywood, you're next on the list, my man.
Yeah, so I've got a sweet bet right here that I am in love with because I'm putting $20 on it, and if I hit, I win $1,320. That's right. It's a plus 6,500. Okay. So the AT&T.
No.
Yes, baby. So all the big names are overseas in Saudi Arabia or whatever, right? There, you got John Rahm and those guys are gone. So I didn't like picking like the winner or anything like that. There wasn't anything that really jumped out with me. So I went with this one. This is for any player on the list to hit a hole-in-one during the tournament.
Ooh.
And I'm picking Justin Rose because that dude is a ball striker. That dude hits his irons so well. All you got to do is hit a hole-in-one this weekend, my man. Let's
All right.
make it happen.
What are you throwing on that? Because I'm in.
Dude, $20 for over.
Let's go.
For
Let's go.
for 1,300.
Yeah.
Go.
That's my boy. That's my favorite golfer. Non-American. I like DJ for Americans, but
all right. Next, let's see. I'm just going off of who's on my screen here. So our host, Josh Dean.
So I as well went with the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and I chose outright winner. I'm stuck between two guys. Okay. I'll give you the easy one that a lot of people might think he's kind of the favorite. Patrick Cantlay, right? He's the best player in the field, I think, right now. He's in California, his happy place, and so it's case kind of closed. He shot a 62 there last year, and he's kind of been trending with good finishes lately. So I think he could get the job done here. But this is the guy that I'm really kind of rooting for, Maverick McNeely.
Yeah, I don't even know who he is, but that name.
Maverick McNeely, you throw $20 on him, outright winner, you can win $420. So McNeely, like, I want to choose Jason Day, right? Jason Day is in this field. I really want to choose him, but I'm trying a little bit of reverse psychology, and I'm going to go with the other guy. So McNeely, I think, can make a huge impression here. So he's been trending towards his first win, and I think what better place to get it than Pebble Beach, right?
Tournament to kind of make your name, right? You know.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
So
no, yeah.
I'm really rooting for Maverick this week.
I like it. I am not going in on that. But I like your guts, you know. Lastly, co-host, are you able to understand the how betting works?
Well, because I live in Maryland and I can't do any online gambling. Don't worry, there's a way around it. I do, and I'm going with college basketball. You know,
Oh,
it's
all
almost
right.
March.
I like it.
It's almost March. I'm pumped up. And this one is an intriguing matchup because they actually just played last week. It's Oregon and Colorado, right? The Ducks actually hosted the Buffalo last week. I think it was the 25th it was. They both have about the same record, right? So Colorado's 13-8, Oregon's 13-7. Oregon's much better in conference than Colorado is. Colorado actually beat Oregon on their home floor by 4. It was actually a close ball game. Colorado's a tough team, actually. They're a really tough team. I don't know if you watched any of their games. They're a tough team. So is Oregon. But now you got Oregon going into Colorado. I actually thought I was going to choose Oregon. No doubt they're going to win. They're going to revenge that loss from last week. But they're in Colorado, and Colorado's playing really tough right now. And I kind of think that they match up to Oregon better than a lot of teams do. And Hollywood there from being from the West Coast and a Duck fan might know a little something about matchups. Colorado is +2 right now. And that's plus 104. I'm taking it. I'm taking Colorado at +2. And I'm telling you right now, that's going to hit. It's going to hit.
I'm interested to see it. I'll be honest, I don't pay attention to either one of those teams.
If I could touch on one more thing, I just came across this. You want a shot in the dark for outright winner? This is I'm kind of speaking to you here, Hollywood.
More of a shot in the dark than Maverick.
Maverick is only plus 2,100, but this guy is plus 10,000.
Let's go.
My ears are open.
Cameron Champ. You bet
What?
$20, you win $2,000.
Cameron Champ
Cameron
is worse odds than Maverick.
Cameron Champ is at plus 10,000 odds right now.
All right.
Wow.
Sending you money, Josh.
$20 for $2,000.
Wow.
Okay. I did just I have one last bet. Sorry. It just kind of came up to me. And who wants to wager against me without knowing? Because this isn't on something. This is just what I'm right now.
I know your percentage of the year. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, why would we wager against you?
Okay. All right, fine. Then I'll let you
You're
hear
on
it.
a podcast for betting.
I'm only going to go with a 50. 50 is as high as I'm going to go with this, okay? But I'm going to say $50 that the Major League or the MLB and the MLBPA come to an agreement by April 1st, and we have a full season.
Oh, that would be nice.
Oh, I'm not taking that. That's happening.
Yeah,
I'm not taking that. They already met again.
They met again, but they were over $110 million in difference.
That'll change quick.
That'll change quick. Well, that will do it. That'll do it. I'm not taking that bet against you. I'm sorry. Nope. That'll do it.
Set us up there
for this week's episode of the Fantasizers podcast. Boys, we did it. We really did it. I'm not gonna say claps around because
Thank God.
He
Thank
might
God.
lose it. He might lose it. But snaps all around. Snaps, everybody. Snaps all around.
There we go.
You know.
It might be worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe next time you don't complain, you big stupid idiot. So that'll do it. We will catch you next week on the Fantasizers podcast.
Adios.
There you go.